Christopher Brannigan, who's Senior Fellow at the Policy Exchange, a former Senior Advisor to Boris Johnson while he was PM, and Defence Lead in the No. 10 Policy Unit. Well, I have to say, Mr. Brannigan, a rather gloomy assessment from the Major General there. Do you concur broadly? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. General Shaw's views are always remarkably astute and very perspicacious when it comes to what our scenario and situation looks like. But I've got to say that part of what you write when you're looking at a policy document like the Defence Review is designed to set us out some way into the future. Of course, the challenge and the threat from Russia is extraordinary and imminent, and something that we're looking to deal with. And the amount of money, we can always argue about how much we're going to get from the Treasury and how good a job the Defence Secretary does at being able to wrangle it out of the Exchequer's hands. But the core is that we're trying to set out, or this document is looking to set out, as the original integrated review did, a view toward our future. So what the Prime Minister sort of set out yesterday, what the review sets out, what my former colleagues set out, is looking to last something into the 2030s, the sort of threat horizon that you deal with nationally when you're looking at what that challenge is going to be. It's for the future as well as dealing with the immediate.
Noting that you're also a senior military man, do you feel safer as a result of Aukus, as a nation, not you personally?
I think we can. I think that's a question that we're looking at. How do we begin to feel safer from here up to 2030 and beyond? There's a much longer term perspective that's required on this, I think, that sets out those foundations. Submarines can't be built overnight. The capability at Barrow, the integration with the Royal Australian Navy, for example, none of those things happen immediately. And so therefore, if I think I'm going to be safer into this coming decade, I'm going to be safer, we're all going to be safer in the coming decade than we would have been without the refresh of the integrated review.
Reading in a little more detail some of what the Prime Minister said, and you're far closer to this than I am, some of the great threats are, of course, what I understand to be economic warfare and spying from China and other hostile states, or even terrorism. Similar sort of question to you then, if I may, Lieutenant Colonel. What's the point of spending billions on submarines to combat economic warfare?
I think that the point behind the submarine spend has always been one of those very early manifestations of how we as a nation, we as the United Kingdom, are prepared in this case with the United States and with Australia to demonstrate how we're going to protect ourselves, primarily through sharing technology. I mean, one of the small pieces that came out of the review yesterday, Nick, is the point that talks about how we continue to invest in our science and technology priorities. But we've always been a little bit of a David in a land of Goliaths when it comes to what we do with our science and technology. And actually the share of sovereignty, the share of our most precious and extraordinary technologies, i.e. how we run our nuclear fleets, that is part of the alliance approach that underpins the way that the review is designed to take us forward into the next decade.
Thanks for your time today. Former Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Brannigan, Senior Fellow at the Policy Exchange, served as Senior Advisor to Boris Johnson as PM and was a Defence Lead in the No. 10 Policy Unit.